Well, already sequencing is displacing quite a number of instruments. It's a highly quantitative and methodology, so it's displacing array technology, at least by a number of people's viewpoints. To some extent, the combination of sequencing and synthesis, you might ask, what can't it replace? You know, what is it in our world of consumerism that will not be touched by it? Is there a material that can't be improved in cost effectiveness or in qualities? And by materials, I don't just mean biodegradable materials, but non-biodegradable materials, fabrics, even computational components could be made biologically. And that's going to involve lots of sequencing and synthesis, an interplay of reading and writing DNA, the same way you have I/O for a variety of other. I mean, when you think of, you know, computing seems like something that's an intrinsically inorganic, and I pick on that not because it's necessarily the lowest hanging fruit, but because it illustrates just how powerful the whole suite of technology is. We can encode information in DNA. In fact, we're in the process of doing this as a demonstration. We can code information at 1 billion times the density of any inorganic system. So Blu-ray discs, flash drives, you name it. We are encoding DNA, we're encoding books, we're going to encode the entire internet in 1 billion times higher density. And you can make 100 billion copies of it for pennies, for fractions of pennies, okay? So that's interesting. That should be interesting. Okay, that's density and cost of making bits. You need something to read that, okay? Then there's computing. So the current computing costs in terms of energy, so joules per operation, so you've got, you know, gigaflops and teraflops and so forth. Each of those operations costs you a certain number of joules. Biological systems can do similar levels of, you know, the mapping is not perfect, but similar levels of arithmetic computation. I'm not talking about DNA computing, I'm talking about things that DNA and biological systems are good at, for 10 million times lower joules per operation. So those are two examples, density and cost, which are related, and then the energy. Well, so I gave an anecdote of Nick Volker where it was weeks, you know, just from a highly experimental strategy to a cure. Now, anecdote obviously is not the same as a clinical trial, but to some extent they didn't wait for a clinical trial, and more will do the same thing. I think the main tipping point, the main thing that really has already changed the attitude is the acceptance of multiple tests and the acceptance of more tests than you actually need at the moment. That was a psychically scary thing for the medical community. Not necessarily for us, anybody here, but lots of people were scared by that. And I think to a large extent they've gotten over it. You no longer say, well, I'm only going to order a chloride test for you. You just say, yeah, they do the whole chemistry panel, right? And then, you know, a lot of it, you're just going to be in the normal range, or we'll put it in your file. They don't worry so much about getting sued for things that are in your file. And the whole genome, as long as you have interpretation software that draws a very sharp line where only this is predictable and actionable. We are not responsible for every base pair in there. No more than we're responsible for the fact that, you know, there might be something about your face that I didn't happen to notice when you walked into my office that day.
So it's going to be the $100 genome and the $1 million analysis?
Well, it's already cost $3 billion to get the analysis. I mean, the price tag to the individual could be $0, okay? So how much did it cost Google to give you Google Maps on your phone? A huge amount. How much does it cost you? Well, it came along with your phone, right? And it no longer requires the level of computer expertise that it used to require to understand exactly what the angle is to the horizon of each of the satellites. It now just says turn left. That's the amount of computer expertise it takes for you to use the awesome power of the maps and the your position and so forth. And I think the same thing will be true for healthcare. It's not going to say go to page 6 billion. It's going to say take this drug at this dose for you.